continue the talk about benefits of Satipatthana practice. About 10 years ago, Pandita Rama Chidangong Sayadaw Bhiyaji explained that Anupassana is a repeated observation of presently arising objects in the four phases of the observation: Kaya, Vedana, Chitta, and Dhammas. Many bodily acts occur in a given moment, some obvious and others less obvious. We commence the practice by becoming mindful of the obvious physical acts. And when the energy of a Satipatthana develops, more detail can be seen as if we are seeing through a microscope or through the lens of glasses, where blurry vision no longer obstructs clear observation. If we fail to immediately observe presently arising phenomena, defilements can solely the mind, leaving room for unwholesome mind states, akusala cetasika, to arise. Our minds may become scattered when mindfulness is not present, lacking in moral shame or moral fear regarding defilements. Then greed, aversion, and delusion can arise in the mind, and when we see something attractive, we may be filled with a desire towards it or develop ambition towards it or generate pride as a result of what we see. One who fails to practice Satipatthana has a mind like a plot of land with overgrown weeds, Kilesa Bhumi and Pali. We fail to see Nama and Rupa distinctively how mental and physical process are separate but are related as a cause and effect. That Nama and Rupa rise and pass away. They are unsatisfactory and devoid of an inherent self, Adajiva. Based on Nama and Rupa, we allow and wholesome mind states do arise. Because we lack control due to an absence of mindfulness. So there is no room for wisdom to develop. When the well-being of Satipatthana is at hand, we come to know Nama and Rupa correctly and cultivate Vipassana knowledge in our plot of land, Vipassana Bhumi in Pali. When mindfulness is absent, one fails to observe the base, striker, and spark elements of sensory contact. Phassa. How external objects strike the internal basis to give rise to sense experience. The knowing of the sensory consciousness, sensory contact, and feelings. There will be attractions to and desire for a pleasant object, or aversion towards that which is unpleasant. When one fails to observe nama and rupas as they arise, with the effort, virya, mindfulness, sati, and concentration, samadhi, the nature of the mentality and physicality cannot be discerned. So misconceived conclusions are drawn from sense experience. In a moment of seeing, if we are mindful, we see the physical base receiving a visible object which strikes the eye and gives rise to sight. Seeing consciousness, seeing contact, and the corresponding feelings that arise. Chakuncha, Padecha, Rubecha, Obejati, Chaku, Vajnana, Dena, Tinkati, Faso, Phassa Visya Vedana, in Pali. The process of the hearing is also the same. We hear because the sound waves strike the ear base and give rise to hearing consciousness, hearing contact, and the resulting feelings. Smelling also takes place in the same way. A smell or fragrance strikes the nose. There is the spark of smelling consciousness, smelling contact, and feeling. Food particles may strike the tongue, and one may experience sourness, sweetness, bluntness, bitterness, the salty taste in the food, and so on. One knows the taste is the taste consciousness, taste content, and the resulting feelings. When the body touches something coarse touch consciousness, touch contact, and feelings arise, one comes to know the tangible phenomena. It could be stiffness, tension, softness, or warmth touching the body. When mental objects strike the mind base, one thinks or imagines. If our observation of the presently arising object is accurate and the mind is aligned with the object, we are aware of the elements in sense experience, knowing correctly, knowledge and wisdom arise. We cultivate vipassana in our plural land, vipassana bhumi. In conventional terms, there are gender classification of male and female. There is also misperception that the mind is somehow connected to a self. Some texts describe Adam self as the base for knowledge, for knowing. They say that there are two kinds of self, Jiva Atta and Brahma Atta. Jiva Atta, individual self, also Brahma Atta, a supreme being. That is, supreme being has created everything, both living and non-living. And this creator God governs all. The doctrine of self. Prevalent at the time of the Buddha had that a permanent soul buried according to the being and its size. Even though the physical body is destroying upon death, the self or soul was believed to travel to a new body. When mindfulness is absent, we believe in mistaken views resulting from sense experience. There is an assumption that a self exists in us, or that a self is experiencing sense contact, or a soul is connected with the mind that knows when seeing and hearing take place. When the Buddha became enlightened, he declared the doctrine of anatta, the absence of a self, that in each physical and mental process there is mentality, nama, and physicality, rupa, connected as cause and effort. That a self is absent in the mental and physical process. An example might serve to explain this. If we are listening to a Dhamma sermon, sound waves impinge on the eardrum, and there is the knowing of a sound. Sound consciousness and the contact between the ear and the sound, giving rise to a good or bad feeling, giving right to a good or bad feeling. The sound and the ear waves are both physical aspects, rupa khanda, and the hearing consciousness, hearing context, and feelings of good and bad are mentality, namakanda, and pali. If the sensory process of hearing is not observed correctly, it can be taken as a man or a woman hearing or listening to sound, and we may bolster our misposition of ourselves to hold a mistaken belief in a self or is supreme being is misplaced faith. Knowing wrongly wholesome mistakes take root in the mind based on mind and matter. And wholesome mistakes arise, and there is no moral shame or moral fear of kilesa arising. In the mind becomes scattered. Consider the example of one's transition from the standing posture to the sitting posture. There is a series of mental intentions, nama, and a series of physical sitting movements and rupa as one sits down in sitting. What assists is the body. The intention to sit is the mind. There is no gender involved or a being, but a mental intention to sit and the physical sitting process that follows. Sitting process, physical sitting process that follows. It is like when we press a button, electricity flows and the fan turns on, or the bulb generates light. With the continuous observation, the mind falls or comes and collected. It can be seen that the sitting occurs due to a cause, an intention to sit. It is not because a supreme being is commanding that we sit, but because there is an intention to sit. The bodily process of the sitting takes place. Sitting takes place. There is no soul to be found in this process. All that is involved is just mentality, cause and physicality effort. A belief in a creator or a self is eliminated naturally. With the meticulous practice, by accurately observing presently arising objects immediately and without delay, one can observe how Nama causes Rupat. Nama causes Namat. Rupa causes Namat, or how Rupa causes Rupa. One can observe how these mutual causes and effort relationships between Nama and Rupa continue in each mental and physical process. No one correctly by mindfully seeing the process and found faith is developed in an uncultivated plural land which we sprout and take over. It won't be a pleasant sight. If we make the effort to landscape this, it might be attracted and we may benefit from the plants. We may even build a house on the land and make use of it. Our plural land becomes useless if we fail to cultivate it. To the extent we cultivate the land, it is valuable. Our lives are the same to the extent that we cultivate and nourish our minds. Our lives become very valuable. Feeling in mindfulness to note and to know, we leave room for defilements, kiletas, to preempt. We can fall victim to sense experience if the observing power of Satipatthana is absent. We can fall victim to sense experience if the observing power of the Satipatthana is absent. Not knowing the processes of seeing, hearing, smelling, and so forth. As a result, we will be left in ignorance, moha, of the way things are. Knowing wrongly, we will lack moral shame or moral fear regarding defilements. The mind may just wander as it wishes, remains scattered and without protection, as we do with the habit. We might chase after an attractive object when it catches the eye or develop aversion towards an unpleasant sight. If there is no mind control, the mind is left to grow wide like a plot of neglected land with the growing weeds. If our moral fear and moral shame are not in check, we may transgress morality and cause harm to others through our actions and speech. Due to a lack of consideration for others, what might even become cruel and overborne with the thoughts of harming others, of steal what others possess. In the practice, we apply sati to note the object accurately. With the presence of sati, the mind doesn't wander. Practicing in this way, the feet of defilements is kept in check. The mind becomes clear and pure, and knowledge will gradually develop. First, there is the knowledge of mind and matter, and then we observe how they are related by cause and effort and are impermanent and satisfactory and without itself. As the practice deepens and vipassana knowledge develops in stage, the rapid rising and passing away of mental and physical phenomena can be seen, and one may experience tranquility, feeling joyous and happy. Tranquility, ekagata, feeling joyous, piti, and happy, sukha in Pali. One's life becomes valuable as these developments occur, like a beautiful, well-cultivated plot of land. Realizing the Dhamma directly, the Dhamma pulls one along to the destination, and there is no need for a teacher to encourage one to continue. It is through the Satipatthana practice that one can observe the arising of nama and rupa in oneself. If presently arising objects are observed repeatedly without delay, even if knowledge hasn't arisen, defilements are kept at bay, and instead effort, mindfulness, and concentration take their place. Every moment of noting is profitable. Viriya, sati, samadhi, effort, mindfulness, concentration take their place. Every moment of noting is profitable. With moral restraint, sila, one comes to possesses culture and refine physical and behavior when study sticks to the object and the mind becomes collected from one moment to the next. Obsessive defilements won't arise, and even if they do arise, one becomes aware that they have arisen straight away, right away. Once behavior becomes clean, pure, and refined with moral restraint, concentration, and wisdom, sila samadhi penya, carefully and respectfully listening to the Dhamma, carefully and respectfully listening to the Dhamma, taking it to heart and learning the method of practice is necessary to overcome defilements. It is by applying effort and practicing meticulously to note arising objects that one develops mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom to eliminate defilements. As a yogi, your only task is to apply effort and aiming so that the mind meets the object directly. Through this practice, we can protect ourselves from defilements and develop our through this practice we can protect ourselves from defilements and develop our lives in a beautiful way. Every act we perform in a given moment is fertile ground for kilesa to arise. It is only by observing all acts of body and mind that kilesa can be uh, caught or tempered. So it is necessary to carefully listen to the instructions, how effort is to be applied, then direct and aim the mind to the object with accurate aim as long as the object arises. To create this foundation, one must have a mind that values the benefits of the practice, faith in the practice, and the desire to reach results from the practice. In a session of the sitting meditation, the body experiences many pleasant and unpleasant sensations. Sayadaw explained, in a sensation of sitting meditation, the body experiences many pleasant and unpleasant sensations. There can be discomfort caused by contact with a hard object or something sharp, or contact with something pleasant. In the beginning, yogis tend to become aware of unpleasant contact and feelings. In particular, when bodily pains arise due to a long period of sitting, when bodily pains arise due to a long period of sitting, it is necessary to observe the pain that has arisen with the patient. Very encouraged. If you back off from unpleasant sensation, effort draws and may obstruct the development of mindfulness and concentration. Then kilesa will take root. The noting mind must actively become aware of feelings, condition, craving, and when a pleasant feeling arises, failing to note it might lead to desire, wanting more, or one may develop aversion towards and pleasant and unpleasant feeling, craving for pleasant feelings to arise. Instead, yogis may even develop craving towards neutral feelings. When the mind becomes calm and collected in the higher stages of the practice, wishing to prolong the tranquil, and calm feelings. All feelings, good, bad, and neutral, are to be observed repeatedly, and to do this, courageous effort must be applied. Courageous effort must be applied, and one must not change one's postures when unpleasant feelings manifest. One must not change one's posture when unpleasant feelings manifest. Then one will have collectedness of mind in order to observe the presently arising feeling, giving into the unpleasant sensations, trying to change one's postures, one face to transcend it, developing aversion and craving by wishing for a better sensation. Defilements will not precipitate in the mind. When pain is met directly with a courageous observation, the painful sensation may intensify, become unbearable. But yogis must patiently observe it, making a firm resolve, and will not move. I will observe this patiently. I will not move. I will observe this patiently. When the pain becomes unbearable, one can reduce it, noting and observe the pain in a more relaxed manner. When, when the pain subsides, over to note more actively, the pain may once again intensify, becoming unbearable, at which time observe it again in relaxed manner. When it subsides, actively note the primary object. Continuing like this, backing down and advancing at other times, there's a continuity of mindfulness. The mind doesn't wander or become distracted. Eventually, one will come to know the pain clearly. When one's observation of a pain is continuous, it will no longer be left in a particular part of the body, and instead, just the characteristics and manifestation of a pain will be evident. Just unpleasant feeling and the mind that knows it. Knowing how to walk with it, one may even challenge pain to arise. Those with little patience and fear of pain will constantly change postures without developing the endurance to practice in the way to overcome pain in the practice. Observing the unpleasant feeling, knowing its nature, it becomes evident how pain makes the mind tired, saps all the energy and functions in a way that the mind retreats, manifesting like a thorn that pricks and fears. The suffering, if it's not removed, hurting us time and again, hurting us time and again. Neither in the text nor in history is it found that an observation of painful feelings leads to illness or death. Instead, many have cured disease by patiently observing painful feelings. So, a applying these instructions and as much as possible, note the unpleasant feelings that arise in the body with patience and courage. စိတ်ရှိဇွဲတံတေညီခံတရားမှတ်တဲ့နေရာမှာတဲ့ဘုရားဒီမှာ language ပေါ့နော်တရားမှတ်ရင်လည်းသေသွားတဲ့လူဆိုတာမရှိပါဘူးတဲ့ဒီလိုပြောတာဒါကြောင့် neither in the text nor in history it is found that an observation of the painful feelings leads to illness or death. Instead, many have a cruel disease by impatiently observing painful feelings. So applying this instruction and as much as possible, know the unpleasant feelings that arise in the body with the patience and courage. Okay, that's all for today. We will continue next time. Okay, by the way, Yogi, this practice taught by the Buddha is very beneficial to all of those who practice it. We are very lucky to have the chance to understand the value of mindfulness and to put it into practice. If the Buddha had not thought of mindfulness, who would be able to teach us? We cannot find this practice of mindfulness in other teaching. So my advice is not to start meditation practice after leaving the retreats. Please carry on and keep it always fresh and alive. So when the opportunity arises, you can catch that opportunity and practice in a more serious way. Okay, now I wish that all of you may soon realize the goal. May you all be able to attain your goal with ease. And may you all be well, happy and peaceful. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.